So one has to wonder if ex-mayor of New York, Mike Bloomberg, has a shot at the Democratic nomination and or the presidency. And I have to say that this is quite a fascinating chart that is signaling very strongly in a variety of ways. And one of the ways is having a lot of planets in Aquarius in this kind of position, of course. He's running for president. Tends to be a pretty big asset. I'm going to call this the Reagan effect. Reagan was an Aquarius, and in particular, if you have your sun degree near the American moon, there is likely to be a receptivity on the part of the public to what you stand for. This, in fact, is one of Trump's great assets. Trump has very late Leo rising, very late Aquarius on the other side of that rising degree, and this is what connects him to at least a large sector of the public. So that's definitely an asset for Mike Bloomberg. Then when we see the current and upcoming transiting positions, we see some really interesting patterns. Saturn here is going to be right on his descendant angle, approximately concurrent with Super Tuesday. And this is a little risky. Usually it's better not to have a planet like Saturn too close to anything when something important is happening. It's okay to have it around, even in areas that might be somewhat compromised. But if it's too close, it tends to be problematic. Of course, Saturn is a grounding, building type of influence. And should he do well during Super Tuesday, then what happens is Saturn moves beyond the angle, and about a month later, Jupiter lands on the angle, which is a fantastic influence from the positive end. And so the first thing I would say is we have to wait to see what happens in Super Tuesday, which is pretty much what people know already anyway. He's set it up strategically by spending a lot of money, banking on a good result during Super Tuesday to then propel him forward. And money he has a lot of, and it's interesting to notice that his chart shows planets heavily populating the 11th, which is the house of income from career, the 8th, which is other people's money, and then in the astrological chart, you look to the 2nd and the 5th to complete the 4 key money sectors, and the sun rules the 2nd house, so it rules the other house of money in this case, and Mars is up in the 11th and rules the 5th. So this chart is basically a money chart, and it fits him to a T. The other thing is, if he were to advance to win the nomination, there is the fact that when you see a person with all this Aquarius, Taurus, it would make perfect sense to see him as a president, because then what happens is at inauguration, by then Saturn is fully in Aquarius, and this forecasts 2 to 3 years of lots and lots of work, which is what you expect. When you see charts where the energy is too easy in the year where the person would be elected, you can get a little suspicious that they're probably not going to win, because typically a US president's job is very difficult. And this is something that, for example, happened with Barack Obama. He had pretty good entry points during the election, but then what followed after was really tough, both in 2009 through the healthcare debacle or healthcare struggle that he was involved in, and also in 2012 because the aspects were hard after the election. So, bottom line for now on Mike Bloomberg, Super Tuesday will tell us what his chances are. So in this case, the common sense that is being talked about in terms of just the logic that is when he has to do well, because that's just the way the system is set up, mirrors the astrology almost perfectly.